Hey YouTube, hope you're having a great week. I wanted to give you a quick update on a project that I shared with the community a couple of weeks ago on my channel. I've been working on building a foundation for this large water storage container. I got into the project and really underestimated what was going to be involved. It took me easily a little over 2 weeks. If you follow me on Instagram, by the way, if you're not, there's a link in the description section below. I post updates every few days on what I'm doing with this particular project, what I was doing, and I officially finished it yesterday, got the water assembly set up on it, and this was a project that was just beyond difficult. I really approached it with a little, kind of a wrong approach in a few things. I did some things incorrectly, but all in all, it came out correct at the end. There was things that I could have done that would have made it a lot easier. Let me just put it that way. And so through the process, I learned a lot. And, one of the things that as I've been working on building and working on this land and actually getting it ready for, again, the plans that I've shared on this channel as far as getting gardens set up, getting bees, getting other things that I want to do. Without water, I can't, get into gardening, obviously. And so this area that I have that I'm developing up here, it was all waiting on this. And I'm a couple of weeks behind now, unfortunately, as a result. I've been talking to a local farmer up here that I'm going to be buying a lot of stuff off to plant. She has a lot of, heirloom seeds. And so, she keeps texting me saying, hey, what's going on? Are you ready to go? You're ready to plant? I haven't even set up the container gardens yet. So through it all, I've, in a sense, gotten really frustrated with things. Things have just not gone the way I planned. And it's encouraging on one hand because I realized, look, this is for the long haul. I've got to learn how to pace myself. When I get frustrated, I got to take a step back and continue to move forward. I'm not going to give up. And one of the things I want to kind of share is just my own practical experience through this process is that when things happen, especially as preppers, I think there's so many plans that I've had of, doing a lot of things. I'll start projects and one project will tie up my time. Then I have to take a step back, focus on that. And the other things I was planning on work on, they get pushed back. But again, through this all, it feels overwhelming at times. And I know so many people, I've shared this in my last video, email me, make comments in my videos that it's hard to do certain projects or do certain things with a family and responsibilities. And hey, I get it, 100% get it. I've got a company that I run. I do this YouTube channel as I'm trying to grow it and build it as kind of a, just more than a hobby, as something I want to eventually build into a business and I can share as I learn and grow. And so through it all, I hope this is going to be a stepping stone for myself and a source of encouragement for you, is that when you get into projects, there's going to be setbacks, things are going to happen, but you can't give up. And through it all, I can look back at times when I procrastinate and put things off, and there's things that I've been wanting to do for years, and I just put it off, and I never get around to it. And I decided with this one, after having to stay up late at night to dig, and spend several days working on it, that I just didn't plan on it. There is a sense of accomplishment, a sense of pride of pushing through and finishing. And that's my hope for you, is that as you're developing your preps, as you're learning skills, as you're looking at things you've got to work on, don't worry about the setbacks. They're inevitable. I always tell my wife, and she always jokes about this, I'll get into a project and I'm like, hey, I'll be done in about an hour or so. And that's kind of the joke around the house is, I'll be done in about an hour. An hour usually translates into a day. How many projects have you gotten into and you realize you forgot a tool or something and you have to go down to Home Depot and have to pick it up and all the drive time, etc. And that's kind of what I felt like with this project. I got into it and there were several things that as I began to make progress, I realized, wow, I really underestimated this job. But it's okay. Through it all, I learned a lot, and it's skills. Remember, that's the thing that we talk about, and I want to continue to push on this channel, is go after skills. Skills are one of those things that, you'll make mistakes. And I plan on, as I get into gardening next, that's going to be the next push over the next couple of weeks, get my container bed gardens set up, get the soil. I'm going to screw up a lot. I know I will. But if I don't do it now, if the grid's down or if there's a true SHTF situation that's prolonged, and I've got to take care of myself, my family for a year or more until the grid comes back up, those skills that I develop now, I'll be able to carry that into that situation. I know this is a kind of a personal thing for me. There's times where one of the things that my hardest thing to deal with at times is a fear of the unknown. And when I've never done something and I don't know what I'm getting into, I get anxiety when I go into something that I don't know what I'm doing. I shared this on my channel many times before. I own a business. It's a web development agency, and whenever we take on projects and there's unknown elements, it's hard to, for example, to quote those, and I get a little anxious because I'm like, okay, what if we underbid? What if we screw up? But what ends up happening is 99% of the time we figure it out, we push through. There's a little extra time that has to be spent to learn it, but we're able to look back and say, okay, that's a skill we now have. Whenever someone asks for that in the future, we're able to do it because we learned it. And that's kind of how I'm approaching developing this land, building it out. Gosh, there's so many things I don't know, but there's things that I do know that I will get this done. It may not go at the pace I want to do it, but it will be done. And maybe things get delayed. I plan on getting into bees next. That's going to be something I've got to start buying those here in the next few days, getting those lined up. My father's actually coming out next week. Him and my mom are going to be flying out from Texas, and he's got a lot of experience with bees, doing gardening, so I'm hoping he's going to be able to help me with a lot of these projects around here. So I'm looking forward to that, and I'll share again on the channel as I'm learning with him. But through it all, here's my, again, hope for encouragement on this channel is that when you get into a project and you're looking down the project and saying, okay, this is what I've got to get done, but I don't know how to do it. I'm afraid of making mistakes. Hey, we all make mistakes. It's just going to happen, but don't let that stop you. And again, I hear so many people on this channel make comments that, for whatever reason, they can't get into doing something or developing a skill or get something done. Don't let excuses stop you. That's kind of where I'm at right now. And again, this whole foundation, building it, was an experience that I did not expect. I mean, it's not some earth-shattering event, but nonetheless, it took up way more time than I assumed. Again, I thought I'd just throw up the tank on the, on the dirt, and we're good to go. We'll just fill it up. Turns out, a lot of people looked at it and realized, or told me, you've got to build a foundation for that. But through it all, I built a good, solid foundation that I think will last for, probably way outlast this tank. And to me, that's important. I want to do things right. And as I'm approaching projects on this property, I realize I won't do everything correctly. And it may not be everything perfectly lined up or, up to contractor code, but that doesn't matter. I'm trying to learn these skills, develop them, get things ready and set in place. Because if there is an event that occurs that takes down the grid, that our economy goes through turmoil or different things that could potentially happen, I don't want to be caught just saying, oh, I'll get to that one day. I want to do it now. And again, that's my hope for you is don't delay. If within all possible, I realize there are people with limitations. There's, people with disabilities, and I'm not trying to be insensitive to that. But for those that are able to do it. And again, that's my hope for you today is that, whether you're putting something off, don't delay. It's easy to procrastinate. Trust me, I know that all too well. I'd be curious to hear what you're doing. Post your projects, what you're working on in the comment section below. I definitely always, again, learn to hear back from the community. I really enjoy learning from you guys. You teach me a lot. People are giving me a lot of insight and comments that I'm like, wow, I didn't even think about it that way. That's something I should do. So post those comments if, especially I've been following a lot of people, their comments on gardening. There's a lot of things I'm going to be getting into shortly as I'm building those out. I'm going to start really simple with some simple things, peppers, tomatoes, squash, some really basic stuff. And from there, I'll try to get more advanced over the next few years using my hill and other things to advance my skill sets. But I've got to start somewhere, right? So again, post your comments in the comment sections below, your questions. And again, I always enjoy hearing back from the community. As always, be safe out there.